Well, here's a word for you. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 12 and 13. Friends, when life gets really difficult, don't jump to the conclusion that God isn't on the job. Instead, be glad that you are in the very thick of what Christ experienced. This is a spiritual refining process with glory just around the corner. Now, I want us to understand some things before we get going. Life sometimes can get really difficult for various reasons. Sometimes we encounter the trials and tribulations of life, and it's something, whatever it is, it's something that God, in His great power and grace, can use to build character in our lives. We do know that God does, in fact, work everything together for our good. Does not mean that everything that happens in life is good. It doesn't mean that everything that happens to us in life is the will of God. But everything that does happen to us in life can be beneficial. God can refine us and make us better people. In fact, I want to give you some benefits of life's difficulties. Here's how they have a way of refining us. First of all, when we go through the rough patches in life and difficulty, they get our attention. It's kind of a wake-up call. Sometimes it's a slap across the face. All right, I'm awake. I'm up. I'm up. The trials of life are often a wake-up call. I love what C.S. Lewis once said. God whispers to us in our pleasure, but shouts to us in our pain. Look at Job 36:15. Hard times and trouble are God's way of getting our attention. A second way difficulties refine us is that they teach us to depend on God. Look at the Apostle Paul's testimony to the church at Corinth, chapter 1, verse 9. He says, we don't want you in the dark, friends, about how hard it was when all this came down on us in Asia province as he's doing his missionary work. He said it was so bad we didn't think we were going to make it. We felt like we had been sent to death row and that it was all over for us. But as it turned out, Paul writes, it was the best thing that could have happened. Instead of trusting in our, watch this, instead of trusting in our own strength or wits to get out of it, we were forced to do what? To trust God totally. And then he writes, not a bad idea since He's the God who raises the dead. As somebody said, you'll never know that God is all you need until God is all you've got. Third, we benefit from the difficulties of life because they have a way of proving our faith. They refine our faith just like gold is refined through the heat. The difficulties and the sufferings of life refine us. That's what 1 Peter 1 verse 7 says. Pure gold put in the fire comes out of it proved pure. Genuine faith put through this suffering comes out proved genuine. Now nobody wants to suffer. We don't welcome suffering. In fact, we often ask God, could you just take it away? But if God takes it away, then we lose out on the refining process. The fourth benefit of the difficulties of life is that they develop our endurance. Look at Romans 5. Even in times of trouble, we have a joyful confidence, knowing that our pressures will develop. They will develop in us patient endurance. And patient endurance will refine our character, and proven character leads us back to hope. One more thing. Difficulties are good for us because they get us ready for glory. That's the long view. This next verse puts everything in perspective. 2 Corinthians 4:17. These little troubles. And here's how this works. If the further you get away from something, the smaller it gets, right? The further away you're going to get from this experience. And in fact, when you get up to glory, I don't know if God lets us see down or not, but from up there, it's going to look really, really small. These little troubles are getting us ready for an eternal glory that will make all of our troubles seem like nothing. Understand, the pain you're going through right now, it's not going to last forever. It'll pass. It's temporary. It's just for a little bit. When we're going through really difficult times, the Roman writer says, meanwhile, the moment we get tired in the waiting. And that's where some of us get lost. We get tired in the waiting. Some of you right there, you're exhausted, wondering, Lord, is there an end to this? Look at the next phrase and remember it. Meanwhile, the moment we get tired in the waiting, God's Spirit is where? Right alongside, helping us along. See, as I said earlier, God doesn't always remove the difficulties from our lives, but you can be assured of something, my brothers and sisters, He's walking right alongside you. Amen. You're weak this morning. I'm preaching awfully good. I love you. You know that, don't you? If we don't know how or what to pray, it doesn't matter. He does our praying in and for us, making prayer out of our wordless sighs, our aching groans. Aren't you glad you don't have to know how to pray King James prayers? Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. That's our God. And He knows far better than we know ourselves, and keeps us present before God. I want you to understand that God's intentions are always for your good, okay? They really are. And that's why we can be so sure that every detail in our lives of love for God is worked into something good. So I ask you, do you receive God's word today?